Welcome to the Business, Finance, and Comedy Show. I am a guy surrounded by money. Today I'm interviewing Ted Kubaitis, author of CORA software and the main host of SEO Fight Club. Was CORA originally a personal project or did you always build it with clients in mind?
Yeah, it was kind of my own secret way of doing SEO, and I started sharing some of my data on Black Hat World, and people started saying, "Oh my God, what software made this?" And I realized I had an opportunity.
I ask because as a programmer myself, I am always building tools for myself. Do you use CORA for your personal affiliate sites and do you have any success stories relating to that?
Well, I haven't really been in affiliate, so I've used Quora on every website project I've ever done, but I haven't done a lot of affiliate, unfortunately. I want to get into affiliate, and I probably will later this year.
Sticking to unconventional CORA uses, have you personally used CORA for parasite SEO? I know it is not the typical use case, but I expect you can get averages on some things and do an article.
I would imagine you can, but again, I'm not an expert on parasites, so I haven't had a need to. I practice minimum viable SEO. I like to rank to the top with the least possible effort. And oftentimes I find a lot of the black hat tricks and the gray hat tricks tend to require more work than I'm willing to put in. I'm kind of a lazy person, so I want to succeed easily.
CORA measures factors. Have people asked if it can measure any particularly weird factors?
Yeah, people ask me all the time, basically on factors they see in the Cora reports. They'll be like, "What the hell is that, Ted?" And I'm like, "Well, you can Google it, because it tends to be very literal about the HTML specification and the JavaScript specification and the CSS specification and the schema specs, and so." When I find a factor, when we detect a factor in play, it's usually something from within one of those specs, and so you can usually Google them. But what we tend to find are the limits of what people know about, web development, and so you'll find a tag outside of their knowledge, like the details tag or the main tag or the abbreviation tag. So stuff like that.
Have you spoken to Google employees about your software and what do the conversations go like?
Um, it's hard to know. I have spoken to them. They have never spoken to me. So it's I've met them at conferences. I've met Paul Har and Gary and Matt. I haven't met John Mueller in person yet. But I don't think they know me. So I'm not like a celebrity or anything, or at least to my knowledge. I think we're such a small corner of the industry, the people doing data-driven SEO. So you got like all of SEO here. Data-driven SEO is like way down here. Um, it's such a small piece. I don't think we're on the radar all that often.
Do you find that people in the SEO industry are good at understanding your software?
Generally, I view that we are all at different places on the same journey. So you take a white hat SEO that believes everything they're told in their favorite blog and from Google. And that's just an early part on this journey. Like we know the headaches and problems that person is going to encounter eventually. We're going to see them live the pain that we lived when we were in that spot. And so eventually they come out of it and they start seeing the light on like how this stuff works and how Google works and how to get results. And so, yeah, there are people that are offended by what I do. And over the years, a lot of them have become my best customers.
Have people in the SEO industry considered getting people on the inside of Google even if they're joking or fantasizing?
Yeah, there are people that have left Google with insider knowledge. And so, I've watched them, and I don't know. I think it's really dubious legal ground, and you don't really need it. Like, you can discover what works statistically. You don't even need insider information if you can do a little bit of basic math. And so with that, you can avoid all the lawsuits and all the crimes and all of that stuff. Just, run some stats and you can find truth that way.
You always talk about the bar at conferences, without giving specifics. Have bar nuggets helped you with your projects at all?
Yes, absolutely. There is no doubt in my mind that the best information at a conference is usually going to be at the bar. Sometimes it'll be in the exhibit hall. So a lot of people go to conferences and they expect the speaker talks to be the main event. And oftentimes they aren't. Like, I would go to SMX and the speaker talks were worthless to me. But I'd walk the exhibit hall, and here's all these SEO tool providers who weren't allowed to present because they sell software. But they invested 500,000, a million, 2 million in SEO research and development. Now, the people who are talking at the conference, they likely made their slides on the airplane ride to the event. And you have people in the exhibit hall who spent $2 million in the last year to figure out how to solve something in SEO. Who do you want to talk to? I know who I want to talk to. So getting value out of a conference is about talking to people and asking good questions, and you got to break out of your shell. And one of the easiest ways to break out of your shell at those events is you just ask people, "Hey, what's the best SEO tip you've heard so far? What was your favorite part of the conference so far?" Just share what's already been shared.
I love alcohol, but I live on the other side of the world, so have never been to a SEO conference. If you don't mind sharing, have you done any super black hat experiments or projects?
Yes. I've done enough that I don't think you want to run afoul of any laws or anything like that. It's just not worth it. And it's unnecessary. It's a lot more work than you'd ever want to do. Kind of like negative SEO. There's a lot of SEOs out there that if you cancel service with them, they'll sabotage you on the way. Don't do that. There are damages in that. You can get sued with that. It might be criminal in some places. Just don't, none of that is necessary, and those aren't problems you need. Now, there are Google's guidelines, and Google says, don't use your keywords and don't make links. Well, too bad, Google. I'm gonna use my keywords and I'm gonna make some links. So I don't care about those. Those aren't laws. But you want to be ethical and you want to be good at what you do. And in doing that, you need to find truth. And what you're going to find when you actually run the test to figure out what works in SEO and what doesn't, that a lot of the things Google has been saying over the years is not good advice.
For me, I have picked up lots of expired domains. I am so old, I remember when expired domains were a flat fee. I also recently started an AI hot Instagram project, but maybe I should try hot blonde women with big boobs. Don't take that out of context, and people wonder why I like to be anonymous. I have other projects that would more qualify as black hat, but I have so many projects, I forget which websites I have and what tactics I use. Back to the questions. Do you get sick of hearing people say SEO is dead?
No, it's whenever big change happens in our industry, you get a bunch of people who can't adapt with the change, and they all say SEO is dead and they leave. And it's good news because everyone they were serving now has to come to the people who stayed in. So anyone who knows how to adapt and pivot has a good year, and everyone who threw their hands up in the air, they had a bad year. It all depends. If you're the kind of SEO that does what you're told to do and you're told what to believe, you're going to have a hard time adapting to change. But if you have good analytical skills and you can figure out best practices by doing some analysis and testing, you're going to be just fine because no matter what change comes around the corner, there's always going to be a marketing problem for us to min max. So those fundamental skills will serve you well.
This is a business, finance, and comedy show. I am asking some hopefully amusing questions. One more, what have been some major amusing or strange errors in the search results that stand out in your memory?
Oh, there's a lot of strange things out there. I found at one point there was a lot of web spam under John Mueller's own name. You'd search for keywords like John Mueller link building, and you'd find these very spammy results, some of which would trigger your antivirus if you clicked on them. On other occasions, we would find crazy things in the search results, like casinos advertising using heavy cloaking for things like how to train a puppy. There's always the classics like Kyle Roof's experiment where he ranked a page to number one for a real keyword, rhinoplasty plano. That's a plastic surgery keyword in a real US city. And he ranked it all with lorem ipsum Latin that had been tuned by the numbers. So we took the right data, the right words, and the right zones and the right amounts. Worked perfectly and still ranks to this day, by the way, after all the web spam updates and the helpful content updates and the this update and the that update. Still ranks today. They never fixed it. And strangely enough, things like white text on a white background still works today. And so what we kind of think that is Google's no longer interested in fixing search, which probably means they're starting to think about replacing it with, AI or something else, or maybe it's to a point where it's just cheaper to replace it than it is to fix it.
What are the main things people in the SEO industry get wrong?
Well, one, they get invested in their ideas of how it works and which guru is right and all of that stuff. And I don't really care what is or isn't a factor. I just want there to be good evidence that supports it either way. And so once I took that kind of stance about everything, it was no longer about which guru is best. It was about, well, what evidence do you have? And what can I prove for myself? And in doing so, I gained a rock solid bullshit detector in SEO. So I know what I've proved for myself. You cannot undo those things I've proven. And when you violate one of those in your blog post, I simply stop listening to you. So don't violate a fundamental truth in SEO, and you have to test to know those.
If you had to get quality links in a competitive industry without buying them, what kind of things would you do?
Quality links in an industry without buying them. That's pretty hard to do. Um, you could bait and switch on the content. So you could make a page that people would link to and then repurpose it later into a page for another purpose that now has those legacy links. You could potentially create your own websites, your own PBNs, your own networks of sites that you could then link from. But really, I think that if you switched your thinking from backlinks to referring domains, I think the problem gets a whole lot smaller and paying isn't as painful when you do that. And the reason you probably want to compete on referring domains instead of backlinks is it's a smaller number, it's a safer number, it's a faster number, it's a cheaper number. And for the past several years, I've been killing it just referring only or just competing only on referring domains. So I've been advising people for over a year now to do that. Start on referring domains, and then usually it's, your whole link building strategy ends up being 50 to a couple $100. Um, and that's pretty small compared to people that are doing guest posts and niche edits and stuff like that, where it's $100 and higher per link, and that's insanity. You just can't do that.
Have you had any success stories with AI content?
Yeah. AI content totally works. Totally works. It's all in how you do it. I don't think you should use it for main content. You want your main content to convert. You want it to sell. So really, you need to craft your main content to be what it needs to be for the business. But where we're seeing huge wins with AI content is in supplemental content. So we can rank entire pages from footers and sidebars and collapse minified accordions. And so when you put your SEO in those places, you can be aggressive and no one cares.
What motivated you to start a SEO show?
Um, when I initially got started, I was over in Black Hat World, and I would spend 30 minutes at the start of every day just helping people and answering questions. And then that community kind of self-destructed and fell apart. And then I tried an iTunes podcast called SEO Fight Club. I did one season of it, and it didn't really take off. It didn't get any real viewership, and it just didn't work out. So I let it die. And then in SEO Signals Lab a number of years ago, I told people that if I got enough comments on a post in Signals Lab, I'd restart SEO Fight Club as a YouTube show. And people liked the idea, so I got a critical mass of comments on that thread, and so I restarted the show, and I've been doing it ever since.
Where can people follow you?
uh, SEO Fight Club on YouTube. And I'm in a lot of the communities, and I have my website, SEOtoollab.com. So I would say probably SEO Fight Club is the easiest place to find me.
I would like to thank Ted for the interview. People watching can like, comment, share, subscribe and whatever else you do to videos if you're watching in the future. If you don't find notifications annoying, you can turn notifications on.